Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? STORMYBMAN, and I am back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the post fight show. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Off with the head. You understand? Decapitation season is back in full effect. That's what I'm talking about. Salute to the LDBC and salute to all that come out to join Stormy B Man for this second edition of the post fight show. Since we had a couple of different cards going on today, Stormy B Man elected to do the show this way. So I'm out here and I see some people out there watching. Not many have come into the chat yet, but this is how you do it. You know what I mean? This is how you do it. Uh, Anytime you get a chance to catch that big game in the net, do it. Huh? Do it. Don't mess around. Don't be out there fitty faddling and all of that crap. And uh, you know, uh, he seems like a nice guy. Ain't none of them nice. You hear me? Ain't none of them nice. But you can do something nice. You can follow the lead of my man tonight. You understand? And set things right. You know, I love it, man. I love it. First of all, this is the post fight show on the Jamal Charlo and Dennis Hogan fight card featuring a special co-main event between Chris Eubank Jr., pardon me, and Matvey Korobov. So first things first, let's get the Eubank situation out of the way. This was a coming out party of sorts for Mr. Eubank, who had been campaigning at junior middleweight, along with Korobov, and his American debut. And it was for the WBA interim title, and it was something that I had said in a previous breakdown for the show, something that could be set up as a potential fight of the year type deal between these two guys. Not because they're so great or anything, because I thought it was going to be a nice mismatch of their styles. And unfortunately, the fight came to an abrupt end early in the second round. Yes, they only went two. They had one and a little bit over one, because Mr. Korobov looked like he either separated his shoulder or a possible torn rotator cuff, something like that. But they'll find out after they take him to the hospital or whatever, and do some X-rays, MRIs, whatever they need to do to find out what's going on inside of there. I hurt my shoulder once years ago when I don't think I was 20 years old yet. But I'll tell you something, when it's dislocated or out of joint for the first time, you never experienced that, it's like the world stops for you. It's nothing nice. I was fortunate enough that all I had was a separation, and I didn't tear any ligaments or anything. But sometimes when you have a tear, that makes for a whole different assortment of problems. And for a fighter like Korobov, who's an elder statesman in the game, past 30 plus years old, it's something that it's going to be a little tough, because that's his power hand and he comes from back here with it. So you know, this hope and wish for the best for the man, because this is how he earns his living. On the other hand, with the man that who end up on the fortunate end of things, although it wasn't the way he wanted it to go about, EUBANK is now a belt holder, a titleist in the division, where men need to step up and fight one another. And let's just hope that he has that opportunity to meet the challenges that could be out there for him. I'd like to take a moment and go to the people that's in the chat. Those of you who decided to come back for another edition of the post-fight show with STORMYBMAN. We got people out here. Thomas Moreland, he says, salute family. Derek Bailey is out there, salute at STORMYBMAN. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. He says, salute my peoples. Reggie, if you want to get on here with me, I'd love to have your voice. You're welcome, because we can talk through these things, plus a little bit, a recap on what happened earlier. That's only if you want. If you don't, if you want to remain in the chat, just go ahead and put in there what your response is. Derek Bailey is saying salute to Reggie. Lala D is out there. She's got the Lions. What's going on, Lala D? Appreciate you. Denise Ward, Sister Denise Ward is out there. She said, what's up? Kenneth Johnson is out there. Says salute STORMYBMAN. And Derek Bailey is saying peace, Queen. Lala D. Lala D is at Derek. And Reggie is saluting Derek. Gil Coles is saying salute STORMYBMAN. Salute to you. Mark Wunderlich is out there. He says salute, Utah in the house. And Kenneth Johnson is saluting Lala D and Denise Wards, I'm sorry. Kenneth Johnson is saluting Reggie. All y'all saluting each other. It's a family grab bag. It's all good. But yeah, this was a a chance for people to lay eyes on Chris EUBANK Jr. Now, some people have not been very high on him, nor what he's had to offer in the sport. He does have a couple of losses on his record, but as I was stating in a pre-fight show, I think that EUBANK brings something that's missing in the division. He's a colorful young man, and he has a lot of the personality of like his dad. And that's not a negative thing in the sport of today, because there's a little machismo behind that, which is sorely missing in the sport today. More machismo is needed, okay? People who let their nuts hang, so to speak. We need that. Plus, he's a guy that gives, he gives effort, You can hit him, punch him, knock him down. Don't mean nothing. The fight ain't over yet. I like that in him, And he has a style that's it's exciting, because there are holes in his game, but he don't care. He's a fighter, and I like that. You know what I mean? Hyphy's out there. He says, big up, mans, like STORMYBMAN. What's going on? What's going on with you, Hyphy? What's good? So, yeah, I'm excited off of this, because I was a little bit down in the previous card, coming up off of that game. I didn't like how things went, and I was just hoping for something, grasping at straws, so to speak. But man, my boy came through. And for anybody that been following my channel and watch my content, I know a lot of y'all don't watch it because my views be low. My STORMYBMAN views on his videos be too low. There's too many of y'all out there ear slutting and peeping. You just hit the like button, man. Show up and show STORMYBMAN some support, man. But I put a video out not long ago about Jamal Charlo. This young man, I think that when it's all said and done, he's going to be a guy who can show himself to be worthy of being right up there at the top of his division. If not the man, he'll be the man part 2 or number B or whatever. But I like him. I like what Charlo brings. Hyphy says, EUBANK didn't let his nuts hang when it came to sign that contract to fight Triple G. Yeah, well, you know, I'll tell you something, Hyphy. A lot of times, those contracts, you know, we don't always know what the ins and outs of it are. If they offer a guy a certain amount of money and he feels his value is greater or whatever, you know, it becomes leverage. It becomes a negotiating tool. But at the end of the day, I don't really think that he's afraid of Triple G. There's a lot of people that want a piece of Triple G, but they don't want to pay the guys to fight Triple G. Now you take a guy like Danny Jacobs. He took the contract, right? He signed. But Danny Jacobs didn't go in there and try to win. In the later rounds of the fight, he finally decided to throw some shots and stuff and realized, damn, I should have did this earlier because I could have possibly won. And so that lets me know that Danny Jacobs is just a guy there to cooperate, you know, go along, so to speak, you know. And I can't respect him, and I don't. You know, Mike James Boxing is out there. What's good with you, Mike James? Hyphy says, Lala D, gonna let Stormy cook for a while before me up live. All right. Hyphy says, boxing conversations with Reggie Owens, Big Reggie. Nigga almost caught a case upon Top Cat stream the other night. Big ups, Jenna. Man, Hyphy, type normal in the chat, man. I can't read that shit. I told you it'd give me fucking brain synapses and shit. I be trying to read that. Man. Lala D said, Stormy, I picked round 6. Damn. Hey, as long as you was riding with the winner, Lala D. Long as you was riding with the winner. God's Boxing Corner says, salute Stormy B-Man in the chat. Salute to you, God's Boxing Corner. Hyphy says, it's Stormy B-Man. Maul is a good fighter. But next weekend, we'll see the difference between a good fighter and a great fighter. Crawford time. Oh, man. Everybody else is saluting each other. And Lala D said, Jacobs needs his ass kicked for that. Absolutely. He a clown. Absolutely, Lala D. You know, people like Danny Jacobs, you know, again, like I said, he had opportunities against Triple G and Canelo. And the only reason that he got his chance against Canelo was because of how he performed against Triple G. People realized, meaning Canelo's people, this guy is not going to try to hurt you. This guy's not going to try to beat you. He's just happy to be invited to the dance. And they gave him an offer. And he couldn't refuse, and he couldn't perform. He couldn't add up and measure up to what it took. He had Canelo hurt at one point in the fight with a couple of shots he landed and backed up off of the man as if there was some kind of invisible force field around him. And he said, oh, I can't get no closer. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, on to tonight's game. Huh? They had the nerve to show a pre-fight show. Well, like a little, you know how they do that little storyline, byline for the fighters. Excuse me, people. That's that yawning again. As soon as I go live, I start yawning. What the hell is that shit? Anyway, so Hogan, you know, he got to tell his life story and shit. I'm from Ireland, you know, all of that shit. And me granddad, you know, whatever. Anyway, Charlo sent him to his granddad tonight. Yeah. So when they do all that kind of stuff, they be hoping, okay? They be hoping that a guy could put on a certain kind of performance and then you could get a chance to see them strut. But I was, I was waiting. I was waiting and I was patiently waiting. I even gave, Hogan the first round, because he was busy, he was active. And Maul was just kind of like, following around, measuring distance and stuff like that. But when that uppercut landed and my man did that, when he did that ballerina pirouette, y'all should have heard Stormy laughing. I couldn't contain my laughter. It wasn't because of the guy hit the canvas and rolled over. It was because I got that phrase in my head. Uh-oh, he done fucked up now. Because I knew after that, it was only going to be a matter of time. You understand? Only a matter of time. Because this is how you know that a fighter like Maul, he's good. And he's active. He can let hands go. He can move when you punch him back at him. All he needs is someone who has ability to get in there with him, and he can rise up to the occasion. He can show you how good he is. But these guys don't want to get in there with him because they don't want to be made to look bad. You know what I mean? So listen, I'm telling you. When Ronnie Shields was telling him, start jabbing him to the body and start bringing them punches around the side, get them liver shots in there and stuff. That's when, hey, all that moving around and that herky-jerky stuff, that's that same shit Tyson Fury does, right? Watch what Deontay Wilder do to his ass next time they fight. The head ain't even going to be a target until it becomes a target. And when it becomes a target, lights out, sucker. You understand? That's right. Lala D says, Stormy, I didn't even know Comey versus Lopez next week. Yeah, we'll get a chance to see it. God's Boxing Corner says, that's facts. Lala D says, exactly. Yep. Gil Coles is out there. He says, I can't wait to see Harrison versus Mel Charlo fight. Oh, man, me too. I'm looking forward to that one. The brothers are lock and chain. He gonna rise to the occasion. I'm telling you. Lala D says, sure did. AXQ4 says, Stormy, you doing that Hogan accent. You talking a language I don't understand. Talk regular. Yeah, I like to make fun like that. Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens says, Hogan turned into tumbleweed. That motherfucker was rolling around on the canvas, man. I was like, get up, you son of a bitch, because Mickey loves you. Motherfucker rolling around. Get your ass up, motherfucker. This ain't gymnastics. Fight. You understand? But, Lala D is laughing. She says, touche. She said, oh, that was funny. God's Boxing Corner said, I laughed because I knew doom was coming. You damn right, man. You know what I love the most, though? After the fight was called. I mean, we could get into it and talk about the fight, but there's so much shit to love about this, man. When the ref was waving it off and Maul was standing back there doing his arm like this and he was winding his arm up, I was celebrating this shit. I was like, do that shit, Maul. Hey, man, listen, that brother there, all he needs is somebody to get in there with him. And then he gonna show you exactly what he about. He gonna show you. Because there's some people that they don't respect what he does, but he got a hell of a coach. I'm telling you, Ronnie Shields he's got that pedigree, man. Plus he's a former fighter. And he knows that lineage of history of who he came up with. I mean, Georgie Benton was a mentor for him. So if these fighters are smart enough to listen to the wisdom that he has to impart on their careers, they'll be in good hands, in good standing. Because he's going to have his fighters prepared, mentally and physically. And from round to round, Ronnie knows how to break down the action and give sound instructions and advisement in the corner. I really respect him. And his name is not mentioned enough in the sport. You know, so that's what that's what I like to say about him and acknowledge
Real
him.
talk. Real talk.
So yeah. I welcome Reggie in there. He's in the server with me to talk about this and more. What's going on with you, Reggie? Man, I'm enjoying this, man. I'm totally enjoying it. How about you?
Man, I am. I'm laughing off of you laughing.
Yeah, man, because you know what? This guy, he really thought that he would have a chance, you know. And I understand why he thought he had a chance. Because there are a lot of people in the sport, in the divisions where he's been competing, and not just in those divisions, but around the entire sport, that don't have what this champion has. So he's been misled. You know, fighting guys like Munguia and everything. Munguia wouldn't even fight his brother. He won't even fight Jermell. You understand? So he's actually moving up away from the weight class because the heat is getting very warm down there where he was. So his ass is doing an exit stage left and shit. You understand? So this guy thinks like, okay, well, at least I could get out here and put on a good show and everything. Wrong, nigga. Wrong. Because this is a champ that's patient enough for you to make a mistake. And then when he capitalizes on your mistake, he going to make you look all the more the reason why you didn't even belong in there with him. That's all. And that ref saved his life. Even though he couldn't go on no more, I wanted him to let it go on some more because I wanted him to be punished. You understand? I wanted him to be brutalized. Huh? But they ain't gonna let that shit happen. Not on national TV. You know. So go ahead, Reggie. What you got to say, man?
Man, for one, man, because of what other cats at 160 ain't, because what the other cats at 160 ain't doing when it comes to Jamal Charlo. They sitting up there avoiding getting in that ring and being about that action when it comes to being on the other side with Charlo. Hogan came in there, even though he knew he was in there against a much stronger, heavier puncher. He came in there to try to figure out ways he can do something. And he didn't run around. He didn't avoid things. Even with him not lacking power, he still got in there and try to thump it out with Charlo. So I gotta give him credit for that, just based on what others ain't doing, and this guy having the heart and courage to getting in there with Charlo. Charlo's performance was great. Charlo listened. I ended up turning it up to listen to when the corner spoke. Because I don't like that commentary crap. But Charlo listened to everything Ronnie Shields told him. When Ronnie Shields told him in one of the rounds, I think I took down my notes. I think towards round number 5, he started telling them to target down to the body, and Charlo listened to it.
Yes,
little kid who listens. He listens exactly with what he's being told, and I commend him for that. And he stuck to this plan against this irky jerky style fighter. He stayed patient. His aggression was appropriate, and it was a good performance. But even I would have liked to see him kind of hold back when he dropped Hogan in that 4th round. If he would have been a little bit more patient and more selective with his shots, he would have got him up out of there. But I already knew he was tasting blood, and that's what a lion does. And but it was all in all a good performance from Charlo. And I love the fact that he to Ronnie Shields.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And the thing about it is, again, when you have a sound cornerman like a Ronnie Shields, and he's talking like he does, and is giving the instruction. When you have a pupil like a Charlo who will listen, you know, you're going to get that type of result. You're going to get exactly what is, you know, what you expect. in you know, the desired result. That's why, you know, you have to respect the cornermen who know what they're doing, and the pupil who are smart enough to listen to the cornermen. That right there is something that, hands down, it elevates the sport when you're able to see that take place, that rapport. And Ronnie just gave him a couple of instructions, just a couple, because for guys who have to use perpetual motion like that to stay out of harm's way, it's not a natural thing. Like, when we've heard Brother Curtis Anderson explain fights and talk about fighters having perpetual motion, that body movement and things like that, when it's not a natural thing and a guy has to do it because that's how he's trying to stay safe or whatever, that's when the body work is going to come into effect and slow them down. And all it needs to do is slow them down just a little bit, because you have to understand like this: when round one comes around and the guy's moving like that, you throw punches and stuff, you're usually missing by a few inches, if not a couple inches. When a guy gets fatigued from body work and he can't move the same way after a couple of rounds, you're in deep a couple of rounds, those couple of inches become, you're in range now, you see? And that's basically it in a nutshell. I loved it, man. It looked magnificent the way that it ended, because you saw the difference between the levels. But he didn't bullshit. He didn't play around. You know, talking about Maul. He didn't bullshit. He didn't play around. Dude, that knockout shot, he feinted like he was going to throw a jab and turned it into a hook and hit that sucker. He didn't even shoot it wide. He shot it inside. So if he was moving this way, if he shot it wide, it would have went way behind. Because he was moving this way, it came inside and landed still on his chin, and he didn't even know what the fuck was happening. As he was going down to the canvas, his eyes looked like somebody had pulled their drawers down in front of him, and he didn't like what he saw. So yeah, I loved it, man. I loved it. What else we got out here? Thanks for the likes, people. We got those likes up over 20 already, man. That's good stuff. Appreciate everybody out there in the chat hitting the like button. I haven't even had to say it once. So, there we see. We got some more people in here. Macadon1 is in the house. He says, salute at STORMYBMAN in chat. AXQ4 says, me mess with Ronnie tough. Underrated trainer. Most definitely an underrated trainer there, brother. God's Boxing Corner says, Mel should have stayed with Shields, and that's no disrespect to Derek James. Yeah, Shields has a pedigree that even James don't have. You know, and that's not a disrespect to Derek James. AXQ4 says he tried more than Maul last opponent, so I give him props. Yeah, his game plan was to fight off the back foot and be slick. He lived and died by it, as will they all. You can believe that. Guys, Boxing Corner said, same thing I said in the fourth, man. I wanted him to stay behind the jab after the knockdown. Yeah, because you got the rounds to work, and you've got the ability to work. See, that's almost like a Deontay Wilder fight. You don't count rounds that you think that Deontay may be losing, because he has an equalizer. His equalizer used to be what we thought was his knockout power. But now his equalizer has been elevated to the class of understanding he has boxing IQ. And because of the equalizer he possesses, he can get rid of you anytime he get ready. That's hella scary. AXQ4 says, like Wilder, Maul really sits down upon his punches. Even in the late rounds, those power punches be having steam on them. You can hit a snap. Yeah, that's why you just heard me, and that was before reading your comment that I mentioned Wilder. There's a few guys in the sport that I said in another stream a while back. I said there's only a few guys in the sport that are special, that are champions. Just a few. You can count them on one hand, and you might not use all your fingers. See, being special. What do you have to say about that, Reggie?
And what was that?
When I was saying that AXQ4 says, like Wilder, Maul really sits down on his punches, and even in the late rounds, those power punches be having steam on them. He said you could hit a snap. And I said, yeah, that's like Wilder. And I mentioned Wilder in my last comment before I even read that. I said that Wilder is a guy that can, you know, I said that he has that equalizer. He could get you out of there at any time. And I used to equate his equalizer being with just his punching power. But now I've moved from that to elevate his boxing IQ, because he knows how to set traps for people now. And that, coupled with the equalizer, makes him even double dangerous, because the equalizer will allow him to get you out of there at any time, and his IQ helps him determine when that time may be. You there, Reggie?
Yeah. You end up freezing, so that's why I catch you.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
No, it's all good.
Huh? Go ahead.
No. I agree with you, and the thing I like with Charlo is that the fact that he does have an equalizer along with that boxing IQ. It is a while ago when he made this. He made a statement regarding where he feel when he reaches his peak, and that's when the mind and the physical peak are aligned with one. And I liked when he stated that, and it showed that he's maturing and he's learning through his teacher, and he's applying it inside that ring. And we're starting to see it where he's just not relying on that one knockout punch, even though he can deliver. But he makes sure anytime he's throwing something out there, it's not lazy. So it's going to have some emphasis on the punch, and it carries throughout the fight. I definitely have to agree with that. And I like what I'm seeing from this dude. He's becoming more and more polished inside that ring, and being the fact that he's controlling his emotions way than his brothers. And I think that's the thing that plagued him. Inside that ring, he may show it at a weigh-in, but inside that ring, his emotions seem to be intact, and he's able to function properly using his mind, where he said it needs to be aligned along with where he is physically, and that being with his power and also his boxing. And it's a thing of beauty what you're seeing now. You just got who are at the top stepping in there, and let's really see what it plays out like. But that's all I got on that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and there's something else to be said about he and his brother. The two of them, have come up as good fighters in the sport. But I do, and this is not a slight on the smaller brother, Mel, but Maul has graduated to another level. And what you saw him do tonight to Hogan, and a lot of people will consider Hogan a lesser opponent, I believe he can do that to anybody in the division. That's how good I think he is. Some people might not like him, might not like his swag or his personality or whatever. But in that ring is what I'm into, and what they do, that's what's important to me. And that is what he shows me. He is more than capable. And if these guys start to give him an opportunity so he can show that, the hate is going to grow, because that's what happens when you get these people who ain't about rolling their sleeves up, getting their hands dirty and going to work. They want to sit back and have the easy life or whatever and support the easy things. But they'll hate on somebody like him that's getting it done, getting the job done, you know, and that's intimidating because he's getting better and better and better. And they just sit back and they grit their teeth and they turn their mouth up at it and everything. But you know what? He's working at it. He's working at his craft. And that's why he's on the level that he's on. All you out there that's sitting back on Twitter and talking shit and social medias and stuff like that, hey, you can let your careers pass by. Look at Crawford now. You know, how he has allowed things to just get to the point where he done lost the little bit of respect that he had. You understand? And it's because he ain't been getting in there, getting it done against the people he need to get it done against. You know? So such is life. I want to catch up. He says, DMV in the building. What's good with you, Nino Brown? And LD said, yeah, Charlo makes a lot of virtuous type comments. Curtis Anderson is in the building. He says, as STORMYBMAN and chat, peace. Peace to you, Kurt. How you doing, brother? Hope you enjoyed that performance tonight. And everybody saluting Kurt, and he's saluting everybody. And Kenneth Johnson is in there. He says, at Curtis Anderson, you called the Ruiz versus AJ fight a long time ago. Lala D says, I still love to see him fight, though. Yeah, man. The thing that I also noticed, Reggie, about Charlo, what he was doing in the fight, was he was patiently, and there's that word again because they've been using it in the chat, patiently, he was closing the distance. And he would throw certain punches and they was missing, but he didn't waste a lot of punches. And when he got close enough to make something really count, boom. That was when you seen Hogan do that little dipsy do, like he is rolling on the floor after being hit by an offensive lineman or something. So that was pretty good. You there?
Yeah. I thought you were making your... I didn't know you asked a question.
No. I didn't ask a question. I just made a statement. I was like, he closed that distance without Hogan realizing that he closed the distance. See, that's experience too.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. But no, I think that Charlo is... I'm impressed with everything that he's doing in there. I'm definitely impressed, and in the fact that he listens to his coach, and that's a big one for me. Is he's listening in that corner and he's applying it. So that was major for me.
Yeah. Now again about the EUBANK and KOROBOV fight. I'm so sorry we didn't get to see that come to a natural conclusion because I felt like that had the opportunity to be the fight of the night. But because it didn't go to a natural conclusion, it's nice that Maul closed the show like spectacularly. That you know, that makes him look better. You know, we'll get to see EUBANK at another time with someone, but it was nice that he was able to. It was his card, and he got to close his show. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I was disappointed. Not disappointed. It was just I was kind of a little bit, and I think it was going to force EUBANK to make some adjustments because that left hand was in sync with anything that EUBANK did. And anytime EUBANK threw a shot, KOROBOV was right behind him with his own bit of work. And he was popping the heck out of EUBANK. And that would have turned out to be in a great fight, and it'll really have to see Eubanks dig deep. But it's unfortunate he extended the hell out of that left punch, tore his thing up out of his socket. But man, it was unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think that happened because he was landing the left so prominently that he got a little over anxious, and he probably threw it, and when it missed, it popped. You know, that has happened. I can't tell you how many times that had happened, but I think that's exactly what it was. He was so anxious to land it. You know, he saw in that first round, oh man, this is gonna be sweet. You know, so he was throwing it with reckless abandon, and when he missed that one, that was it. That's all it took for it to come out of place. So we got people in the chat talking about the fights earlier, man. I did a post-fight show. I think I saw you in the chat, Reggie. You caught some of it, right? From the AJ fight?
Yeah, I was in there. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, if you like, I'll let you go ahead and speak your piece on it and open up with some conversation about it, and we could wrap on it. And I want to take a moment to step away for just like a minute. So you go ahead and say your piece, what you want to say about it.
Yeah, man, I liked everything that AJ applied inside that ring. I thought his boxing was perfect, and it was where it needed to be. And if AJ and trimming down all that unnecessary, allowed this guy to be more fluid inside that ring. Bounced around that ring, had great free movement, which was very good. He was very flexible, more ability to drop down, get up under stuff, and shift side to side. The jab had greater speed to it. He had a nice whipping jab versus the old lazy-like jab that he had, throwing it out there, being slow on the recoil. This one had a quick release and pullback on it. This dude, and the reason why it would look like is because what AJ applied inside the lab, being the gym. He locked himself away, kept unnecessary people away from him and outside of the lab. If you wasn't in here, part of the keep your cameras away, keep your ass away. And that's what he did. Now, when you flip to the other side of things, Andrew Ruiz was welcoming everybody to being around him, so much to where he was neglecting training. And it showed when he stepped on that scale, and it showed inside this ring. But the reason why AJ needs to be fluid, because in moments to where AJ ends up getting caught in on these inside moments, and even from the clinch, you see that Ruiz was ready to let those hands when he was down in the 260s. But he still had these quick hands. He had a hard pop on his punches. But AJ's ability, like I said to y'all, sticking off that jab, stepping back movement, because every time he stuck that jab and he moved out, it created this greater distance that Ruiz had to try to close in. And for Ruiz to close that distance, he had to eat a jab, and that's what he was eating all night. And Joshua didn't even have to use the right hand. He didn't have to use that at all. And he slipped him one nice uppercut, but that left hand paid dividends for Joshua in this fight. And it's unfortunate that Ruiz took this for granted, just like the Buster Douglases of the world, the other fighters who get sidetracked by certain things that become so new to them. And even with the weight, all that ability to move around in that first fight, Ruiz can shift side to side, moving his head, keeping it off the line, making AJ miss, rolling up under punches. In this one, he couldn't do none of that. All he did was stay right in the center line and ate a jab. He moved forward, couldn't pivot well, and that's what Joshua did. Took him on just spun around him, orbited the hell out his ass while sticking him. And that's what Ruiz get. And I knew this was going to happen because of what I was observing. But that's why I got on this part. Oh, you back, Stormy?
Yeah, I'm back. You made some great points, man, because everything that you stated before the fight took place and your reasons for what you felt how it would go down, it worked out that way in AJ's favor. But there is one small, what I would call, I guess, a slight judgment. He was able to do that against Ruiz. But he's not going to be able to fight his career like that going forward. He's not. I remarked in my earlier stream that if you looked at AJ in that dressing room before the fight, he had a look on his face I had never seen. And that wasn't one of those looks like, oh, I'm mad, I'm ready to get out there and get mine back and all of that. But it was trepidation. You know, he had apprehension. He had a lot of emotions going on, fear, which, not that having fear is a bad thing. Fear can make you respect circumstances. But I looked at it more telling that if Ruiz had been a proper new champion, he could have used that to his advantage and capitalize and make AJ's greatest fears and apprehensions and concerns become a reality in that ring against him. And he didn't do that. He didn't do that because he wasn't prepared himself. He wasn't prepared mentally, and he wasn't prepared physically. I thought, and I still believe, that when you can fight, you can fight. But AJ didn't fight. AJ boxed, and he left Ruiz in a place all alone by himself. And because he hadn't trained properly, put on excessive weight, he wasn't in a position to do the things that would be necessary to make it a fight. You know? But there are guys out there that saw AJ lose to Andy Ruiz back in June. And that is the blueprint for whooping AJ. Not this fight here that took place today. But going forward, he's not going to be able to clinch and hold people. He didn't do a good job of clinching and holding Ruiz. Ruiz just couldn't do anything because unfortunately, who would have thought the guy was going to come in so out of shape like he did? Seriously. But then the rumors, well, yeah, you. But typically, garnering a world championship will make a fighter, they say, anywhere between 5 to 10% a better fighter. But him, as I stated in my earlier stream, post-fight stream, he was very telling when he told us something. He said, I made all my dreams come true. Huh? When he said, I made all my dreams come true, he was content. There were no other mountains to climb for him. He got money, put his family in a better position, accepted the celebrity that came with his accomplishment, and he shut down the house. He's done. He's done. He gets hit with that left hook that AJ hit him with in their first fight. Now, he don't get up. Because he'll say, I don't need this shit, man. I got money in the bank. I got my home. I got my family. What am I doing this for? That's why becoming a world champion. And I told you, in some other streams we've had, live shows we've done, some of these guys of today, they can win titles, but retaining titles is what's important. Deontay Wilder just had his 10th defense. Now he's in special class with guys like Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes, Charlie Burley and these guys. Do you know what that means? As a heavyweight champion, 10 defenses. If Ruiz had thought, like, I want to be somebody in the sport, not just the first Mexican to become a heavyweight champion, but I want to reign somewhat. I want to show my people what, and had taken a different approach, AJ ass could have been in trouble. But he didn't have that gumption. He didn't have that type of ambition. You know what that's like? That's like a person who made it out, right? And say, fuck them niggas. You know, I ain't going back there. I ain't going, you know, I'm over here now. Tell them come see me. Instead of going over there and talking to the people and say, hey, let me help you. Let me show you how to do this yourself. Now, you can't save everybody. But there are some people you can captivate their hearts and open their minds. It's quite selfish to go through something like that and not have the sensibility to be able to help someone else. Because a lot of people looking for handouts, but when most only need a hand up. That's real talk.
Man, and the other thing, man, that cats who get opportunities like that, and I always, because I had several people in the family who reached these moments of success going into the NFL and just effing it away. Do them thinking they're stars and this and that and doing all type of things that take away from what they should be focusing on with their craft because of their financial changes and this and that, being amongst people at a lower economic bracket, but not focusing and ruining everything. And now they have nothing. But the thing with Ruiz, and it took me to the point of, like, you hear the stories of Oprah speaking at Fantasia when she reaches her prominence, and then keeping all these people around her who don't bring nothing but take. Learn to tell people no. You can love people from afar, learning those. The same thing I remember hearing that group Troop speak about with Gerald Levert, about when they think they stars, they coming in and rolling into some award show thinking they made it big time at the only one album. And he's like, whoa, what's going on with y'all? Like, he's like, y'all need to tone that down. You ain't made it yet. And those stories just continuously goes on when people reach this particular success and they got all these yes people around them who are doing nothing but being, pocket vultures. Just yes. And all you doing is just feeding these cats financially. And that's all you've seen around Ruiz. People who are just enjoying the moment what fruits he gives out. And that's he's probably giving out all type of money because some of the type of ish, it's taken away from things, and you haven't secured the generational wealth yet. Like, you're making big item purchases, and these big item purchases can put this dude right back in a poorhouse. But he's enjoying this stuff. Yeah, you enjoy it, but don't let it pull away from you. And like I say, I've happened personally where people lose focus because of not having money, getting it and just flossing with it, not even getting it and buying the appropriate things, but just to floss with it. And that shit can be addicting. And what happens with addiction can be detrimental. And that's what happens. Along with this dude having that fame, all these newfound friends he done had around him, celebrity status, give it a week. He can't go around him. He done dropped right back to the bottom of things. And now his boxing career is in tumbles. That's why I was stating I made a video off of my thought, like, what will be the effects of a loss for either one of these fighters? And we'll begin to see it. And it was based on the type of performance. And the way I viewed it and the way these judges viewed it, this dude almost lost. He had a Mikey Garcia moment against Earl Spence, against Anthony Joshua. You perform one way where you embarrass the hell out of this guy. You come back and you drop a dud because you didn't focus. And that is a bad, bad thing. So many people are about to turn on Andy Ruiz. And it's going to be depressing for this guy because the folks he thought were behind him, who are just fair weather, they won't be there in a week. And I wonder how he deals with that, how he's going to deal with climbing his way back. Because it's going to be a hard climb for him to ever get in position of being a champion. And not holding those belts takes a lot of money away from him. So it's going to be hard for him to get to big money fights. Shit done changed, man.
it's going to be hard for his ass come Monday morning. You know, it's going to be hard. And you're absolutely right. And that's going to be the real, eye opener for him. See, what's his name? Manny Robles, his coach or whatever. It's obvious that he wasn't listening to that guy enough. I want to take a moment to go back to the chat for a second. We've got some comments there I want to catch up on while you were cooking earlier. Curtis Anderson said, Ruiz should be ashamed of himself. God's Boxing Corner said, I was pissed. Kenneth Johnson says, yes, he was working that double left hand as well. Curtis says, Korobov was going to give EUBANK smoke with the casket. Lala D said, I had Korobov, also Kurt Sugar. AXQ4 says, laugh out loud. Stormy stepped away to get some sauerkraut for his hot dogs. Lala D is laughing. Lala D says, so much for the Mexicans talking heavyweight shit. Uh-huh. And he made Canelo look bad too, didn't he, Lala D? Canelo visited him in the locker room and everything. Yeah, they're gonna be very disappointed. Lala D says, they were telling me how Ruiz would beat Wilder. I tried to warn them. Oh, man. Curtis Anderson is laughing at Lala D. Lala D says, oh, my God, Stormy, I was just going to say that. Ruiz didn't use his mental advantage. Curtis Anderson says, Ruiz's weight really hindered his ability. That's for certain. And AXQ4 says, that's why Hurd got his ass erased, walking around with fur jackets thinking he was the top dog. And, it skipped on me. Kenneth Johnson says, success can start a fire or it can put out a fire. Absolutely. That's what I was saying in my first stream earlier today, Kenneth Johnson. Lala D says, he looked sad later, though. Maybe it'll hit him too late. Yes, sir. She's throwing up the hands. Curtis Anderson says, it's hard to train when you're sleeping on silk sheets. Yep. Lala D says, hyphy, and someone said Hurd had too many Instagram side chicks. AXQ4 says, at Lala D, he had a chick with him at the Wilder fight. Shouldn't he be training hard to revive his career and reputation? Lala D says, damn, Reggie, you're making this happy evening sad. Oh, man. Lala D says, true at hyphy. Did hyphy have a comment in there? I didn't see it.
Yeah, hyphy is AXQ4.
oh, shit. Man, hyphy be doing so much stuff, man. I can't keep up with that dude. I can't keep up with nothing he doing, man. Let's see. I lost my place. Oh, okay. Lala D says, ain't nobody studying Ruiz no more. He blew it. And Reggie says, Lala D is sad when you look at the picture of what he took for granted. Yeah, that's why I said a moment ago, before I took that break away from the mic, Reggie, when I said that Ruiz had an opportunity. When you saw that look on Joshua's face in the locker room when he was getting his hands wrapped, and even his walk to the ring and everything, he did not look like a guy that really wanted to be there, but he had no choice but to go through this process. And Ruiz made it all easy for him. He did not contest in the fight. He did not provide any questions to be answered by Joshua in the fight. He did not make Joshua feel uncomfortable in the fight. He did not act as if he wanted to win the fight and compete. He basically conceded. He handed the belts back to Joshua. It all began with his mental approach to the gym, which we had no knowledge of, and when he got to the scales. It was Buster Douglas all over again. I was hoping that he wasn't going to hit all the keys. And if Curtis Anderson is still out there in the chat, he know exactly what I'm talking about Buster Douglas. Because Buster Douglas was guaranteed $23 million, I think $24 million to make it a rounder figure, to fight Holyfield, the #1 contender, after defeating Mike Tyson. He was going to fight him at the Mirage Hotel, where they were opening up that hotel as a new venue in Vegas. He was given his own suites. He was given a place to train in there, and he did everything but the right things. He was ordering room service in the sauna, training, running up huge bills on food. So when he stepped on the scales, he was 246 pounds, which was heavy for him, but not his heaviest. But when he fought Mike Tyson in February of that year, because he and Holyfield fought in October, he was 231 pounds when he fought Mike Tyson. And he got knocked out in 3 rounds. Most people thought that when Holyfield hit him with that right hand that dropped him, he could have got up, because he sat up like he wanted to get up, and then he laid down and he rubbed his hands across his eyes and was looking at his glove like he was dazed or something. But he just laid his head back on the canvas and let the ref count him out. That's not a heavyweight champion. That's not a heavyweight champion. Andy Ruiz never turned the heat up on Anthony Joshua. He was not a heavyweight champion. He was a titleist. Now, he's just going to be a footnote in history. And usually the footnotes in history get trampled over. I said that earlier. They trample over. Sometimes the footnotes, check it out. I said this earlier too. For those who didn't catch my stream earlier, shame on you. But I said this earlier in the stream. For those who make their little footnotes in history, sometimes that history get erased. Ask Orlando Solido, whose footnote in history was whooping Lomachenko's ass. But now, Lomachenko's name pops up on screens on ESPN and everything, and he's undefeated. Even though some of us saw Orlando Solido get that victory over him. It's supposed to be in the record books. But maybe one day they'll erase it from the record books too. Because these guys that come out like that, one-hit wonders in the sport of boxing, nobody respects that. You just wanted to get your light bill paid. And you just go back to being a dude on the corner. The reality of Andy Ruiz's circumstance is going to hit him a lot sooner than he knows. And you would think that he would have had a little bit more pride than that. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. AXQ4 Hyphy says, sounds like the rematch today was similar to the Kovalev versus Alvarez rematch. In some ways, I guess. Scrapbook Boxer has joined us. Scrapbook says, what's good, bros? Ruiz was starstruck. He had a Buster Douglas moment. He lived the Buster Douglas life, Scrapbook, down to the final efforts. Lala D says, Canelo asked him, where's the meat I gave you? Damn. He ate the damn meat. Didn't you see how much he weighed when he got on the scale? He ate too much of the damn meat. Shit. Scrapbook saying, STORMYBMAN salute. Hyphy says, I'm on my second account. Okay. Curtis says 24. Lala D says 3 of them too. Scrapbook is saying true. Curtis saying could have gotten up. Curtis says Douglas also quit against Tony Tucker. Yeah. Hustler Slim is out there. What's good with you, Hustler Slim? He says, when Joshua said he was going to fight Ruiz a 3rd time before the fight, I knew this was going to happen. This means both will have another fight and neither has to fight Wilder next. Well, you know what? It's a tough sell on that, Hustler Slim. I wouldn't watch a third fight between Ruiz and Joshua. I don't care if Ruiz came in looking like Stallone came in looking in Rocky 3. I wouldn't watch it. Scrapbook says Ruiz's timing was off because of his weight adjustment. He didn't care. No, he didn't. And Lala D says, Scrapbook, wow, I never thought of that. Scrapbook says Ruiz abused God's blessings and he paid for it. Yep. And he going to keep on paying. And that little money that he thought he got, it ain't going to last. Because just like he's not disciplined enough, you know, to handle that weight and handle his training properly, he ain't going to be able to handle that cash. You know, they say the worst thing about some people is when they come into some money, they change for all the wrong reasons, and a lot of bad things happen in that thereafter. So there you go. Lala D says, exactly. Hyphy Alvarez didn't look like he cared either. The clenbuterol meat. Yeah. But Reggie, you got something else you want to say on that subject? And we can get back on Jamal.
Yeah, no, this one here, man, it was that came from Andy post fight to where the dude makes a statement, says, he says, for the fight, I was overweight. I should have trained harder. I should have listened to my coaches. Maybe I shouldn't have put all this weight that I did. And just from that statement, who's going to be behind him? Don't none of his fans want to see a third. The dude lacks discipline, man. It's fame thing. It's a bad thing, man. Huh?
Of course. And why should we trust him going forward? You basically came in the aftermath of losing here and told us everything that we didn't already know, but you just affirmed it, right? Or confirmed it. You told us you didn't train, you was out of shape, you didn't give your best efforts and all of that. So what the fuck make you think I'm going to invest in you next time? I'm going to watch somebody who in the gym right now. To hell with you. Huh? I could go and watch AJ. I don't like AJ, but at least he going to train and come out and try some shit, and somebody else going to get lucky and do the same thing to him that Ruiz did, but maybe that person will want to be a real champion. Huh? Maybe they don't just want a new house for their mama or something like that. Maybe they want to be a champion. Maybe they want to state their claim in the sport of boxing. It happens. You remember Bermain Stavern winning his title? But he talked all that stuff against Wilder. But when he got in there with Wilder, his words were not comparable to the way he fought. And Wilder took the title away from him. And Wilder said, now that I'm the champ, I'm going to show you how it's done. And Wilder has turned back 10 opponents who have challenged for that belt, including Stavern in a rematch in which he didn't let Stavern get out of the first round? They went 12 in the first fight. He pulled the plug on Stavern so bad, he hit Stavern on the chin. And Stavern got up and told the ref, he hit me in the back of the head. That's how hard he hit him. He knocked that fool into the next dimension where he thought the punch landed back here instead of up here. Good for him. And what has he become since then? About 300 pounds? Huh? Who the hell care about him? That ain't his family. There you go. This whole thing, man, it's really ugly in the sport of boxing where you could get really hurt. The next time you climb those ropes, you might not walk out of there. If AJ was Deontay Wilder, could you imagine Andy Ruiz coming in the ring out of shape like that with Deontay? How long would you think Deontay would let Ruiz hang around? I'm posing that question to you, Reggie.
No, he'll dispose of him, man.
One round.
I can't, but I still, even with that comparison, because I think even him and Wilder will be a competitor as long as he shows some heart. Because he can fight. I can't take nothing away.
He can fight, but Wilder will end him. And see, that's the thing about Ruiz, too, going forward with his career. The book is open on him now. You know, guys look at him like, you know what? This dude, you know, he don't train hard or whatever. Yeah, he can fight. But he got a cut open up on his eye in the first round. Josh would never even try to go after the cut. That don't mean you have to jump on top of him, but you could be stabbing that jab at that cut, dropping more right hands, because it was a solid right hand that hit him that opened that cut up. A solid right hand. The guy was pitiful.
And you know what? And watching what this guy Ruiz is doing is he brought a chef in, not a nutritionist, a damn chef. Who was his homie? And thinking that they were cooking these low calorie meals. This dude has the dude he brought in as a chef has no idea what nutrition is. He don't know what the hell he was packing into Ruiz. All this shit was just a huge facade. He to kind of step on the toes of Rose. And damn, man, this dude is I just hate I'm just tripping off of the reflection of what happened, but just thinking about everything, him fronting like he had some chef and this, they were packing in calories on this dude. That dude had no idea what nutrition was. The chef I'm speaking of, it was crazy, man.
Yeah, and it was said that Manny Robles wanted him in the gym, and Manny Robles wanted him in the gym in June or July. July, wanted him right back in the gym, but he didn't come to the gym till like September or October or something like that. I mean, come on, man, really? I just, at the end of the day, and I said this on the earlier stream, after today, I'm not talking about that guy, man. Andy Ruiz. Not talking about him. People could say, well, he's the first heavyweight champion. I was like, Mexican heavyweight champion. I'll be like, and he's the first one to lose it in his first title defense, too. Woohoo! You know, whatever. But at least my man, Jamal Charlo, closed the day out, and he showed them how it's done. Huh? You don't let them has-beens, ain'ts, and never words hang around. You get rid of their ass.
Right.
Throw them out just like the trash. You don't keep the trash in there by the back door. You put it outside. Huh? But you got some lazy asses that'll keep the trash by the back door. Kitchen be smelling funky like old collard greens. You be like, damn, what's that smell? Fucking garbage bag that your lazy ass ain't took outside. It's been sitting there for 2 days. Huh? Garbage can is right outside. You too damn lazy to open the back door, step outside, throw it in the can, come on back in. But guys like Jamal, I want to talk about them. I see Hyphy's out there. He says facts. No more vids about him. Exactly. He's a clown. But guys like Jamal, want to talk about them. Of course, the king, who is Deontay Wilder, talk about him. You know, J-Rock, talk about guys like him. You know what I'm saying? But some of these other guys that people give too much attention to hell with those guys. Because a lot of them are just like Ruiz. They want to eat, but they don't want to work. I hear Junior True talking about killing what you eat. You know, you eat what you kill. That's it right there. If you killing a lot of bums, and that's what you dining on, sooner or later, one of the bums gonna get you. But if you fighting class and you whooping class, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be remained. You're gonna be etched in stone until the creator say your time is up. The fact that Deontay Wilder has fought Tyson Fury, Luis Ortiz twice, Dominique Brazil, all of these guys within the past year and a half, 2 years, beat these guys. Other people don't want to fight him. All he's done was make his legacy stronger about the opponents that are willing to face him, that other people don't want to face, but at the same time turning back those challenges because he wants to prove he's the best. He set a goal that is a hard to achieve goal. Not because he can't beat the people, because you got those who are ducking and running and this and that, so you have to take certain other matches in the meantime till the windows close or the path gets more narrow, and then you face up. Anthony Joshua was just handed something that he really shouldn't have had right now. He should have had to go the route of rebuilding himself and everything, because that would have made him a better person. But that's why I said also that the same thing that happened to him back in June can happen again. All of a sudden, he's a good boxer now? Fuck no, he ain't. Guys like Andy Ruiz Jr. is the kind of guys he should have been fighting before he won a heavyweight title. That's just a fact. So if he lost to that guy once, what's not to say that, hey, there's other guys out there. And guess who's closing on his heels really fast now? That Danny Dubois, huh? And the Effie Ajaba and those guys, they out there. They ready. And let them decide to cherry pick Mr. Hunter and see what happened. I'm telling you, all of this shit, you know, on that side, he would do better just to go right into a unification with Deontay Wilder and say, fuck it. You know, I'm going to put all my chips on the table. I'm going to go out there. He either going to get me or I'm going to get him. And people will respect him. Even if he lost, they'll be like, well, at least AJ finally grew a pair and went out there and stepped up to the plate. He got knocked out like a son of a bitch, but hey, at least he went in and took his beating like a man. And they'll respect him. He can go places. People will buy him dinner here in America. You understand? But that ain't what they gonna do. They gonna go back to all of that bullshit that they was doing, and they gonna show up some of those mistakes they made on that side, and we can't let this happen. We can't let that be said. They're gonna be so tight and close on him that he probably ain't gonna be able to say shit without Eddie Hearn's approval first. He ain't gonna put in an appearance somewhere first without talking to Eddie Hearn. I'm telling you, that's how it's gonna go. And they ain't gonna never talk about stripping him. They never talked about stripping him of any belts when he had the motherfuckers before losing. But they was already talking about stripping Andy Ruiz before the rematch. They was talking about stripping Andy Ruiz 4 days after he won the title. He was only a champ for a few days, and they were talking about, oh, we're thinking about stripping him if he doesn't do this. Really? This sport is really twisted, man. That's why I say you only have a handful of real special fighters out there. And those are the ones you need to get behind. Those are the ones you need to talk about, make videos on, give support. Make sure that, you liking what they do and things like that. But the sport is it's in a weird place. When you know better, you do better.
You still there, OG?
Yeah, I'm still here, man. I'm just kind of, revisiting that shit from earlier today. As Lala D said, it does bring you down a little bit because Jamal closed it out well, and I shouldn't allow what transpired earlier and my distaste for it to affect my my feeling of elation about his accomplishments, because I've been campaigning for Jamal. You know, I have. I've done several videos on the brother. I think that he is special at his weight class, and I think he can get some things done if people just get in the ring with him. You know, and I'll tell you something. He may not be as confident as he reflects, but that's okay, because that means that there's a little bit of humility there. And as long as he has that, he can listen to that man that's working his corner for him. That's very positive. It's obvious that Jared Hurd didn't pick up on that. And look what happened to him. So yeah, I campaign for Maul, and I want to see good things out of him in 2020. And I hope that his brother is successful at the end of this month when he goes into his rematch. But I don't think that he is as special as the bigger brother, but that doesn't mean I like him any less. I just know that the bigger brother is bringing something that a lot of people at that weight class don't have right now. And hopefully he can get something going with Danny Jacobs, because I would love to see somebody crush Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs deserves crushing. He does. Because Danny Jacobs ain't repping out here the correct way. And anytime somebody get a chance to get one of those kind of guys, they should usually take out all extreme prejudice on that guy. Handle that business. And Demetrius Andrade too. Hyphy says 2018 was the last year boxing scammed me. Not playing those scam games anymore. Yeah. It is a game for sure. So go ahead, Reggie. You got something you want to say? Some last words on this?
No, I just, man. Wait, let me get my signal. There we go. Get my signal. It was a great night of boxing, man. Unfortunate for Matt Korobov. Really wanted to see that dang fight. Really wanted it.
Yeah. I
like what Wallach did to embarrass the hell out of Dillian White. Enjoyed what that old man did. Like what the Michael Hunter-Povetkin fight. But Michael Hunter, this weight division may not be for him, man. But he battled out. He showed true heart, true grit. I think, wait, dang, what was my score? I wish I had my...
What, for the Hunter-Povetkin fight?
Yeah, but he's still... these other guys in his division...
We both agreed. I think we both had it 115, 113.
113. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And but going forward, man, it's gonna be bad for Michael Hunter at this, man. But he's an athlete. He's the one daring. This is where the money's at. So this is where the money's at for him. Nothing's at cruiserweight. But man, hopefully he stays safe. I think what took him away from his fight was what he got hungry, kind of being with his power. Povetkin in that first round, he was looking to like, I can get this guy out of here, and he hurt him a couple. He got to be careful in his division, and all in all, it's been good, man. I got no knock for the boxing. Champions who don't fight other champions, because boxers coming up, there's great fights. I'm always entertained by the sport. Nothing's gonna knock boxing down for me. I'm talk that UFC and boxing dead stuff. Nothing can do away with boxing for me, man, because I know what the sport has, and it will correct itself. And but even with the AJ thing, it just brings more. The AJ thing being back on the table brings a greater value to that division. And it's going to be a greater thing to force that dude. AJ really ain't a star. All he got was his fans back. It's almost like him riding a bike and the bike falling over. All he did is pick the bike up, put his foot on the pedal, but he hasn't taken one push up off that one step on the pedal, and that bike hasn't. He's back in the line to where that pressure. The Wilder thing is all that people want to see, and those questions of Wilder came out. All in all, man, this boxing thing is dope, man. This is dope. I can't knock it, won't knock it, even when particular fighters ain't fighting each other, because too many people in here to focus on other guys and act like they're the face of the sport. Like, I just begin to kind of turn away from them until they do something. Too much action out here, and so many fights happening every weekend, man. I'm just being overdosed on this boxing stuff, man. Damn, man. But that's all I got, man. Thanks for bringing me on, OG.
Oh, man, it's all good, bro. I want to tell everybody out there to mention to them that don't forget to check out the OG Boxing Talk tomorrow morning, because I'm sure they're going to have a lot to say about today's and tonight's events. And I'll be looking to tune in to them. And I want to say thanks to everybody that showed up in our chat this evening. You guys got me up over the 20 likes early in the broadcast. I mean, I don't think I was on for 5 minutes, and you guys got me over 20. So I really like that. That make me feel like some people out there kind of like me, man. You know, I might come out my shell. Who knows? But with all due respect, I just want to say thanks for everybody who tuned in and hit the like button, who participated in the chat. Don't forget that we got more boxing talk coming up through the week. We got D-Style Boxing on Monday, where Reggie appears on there with D-Style. And then sometimes I'm on there as well. So if I get the invite, I'll be on there. Then later in the week, I got the Friday night chop session with STORMYBMAN. And I got another In the Eye of the Storm coming up next Saturday. So hopefully we can get one of the good brothers on that show. I'll throw out some feelers this week and see who I can snatch to have them on the show with me next Saturday. So, yeah, it's been a great day of boxing. We saw a lot of fights today, man. That DAZN card was busy, man, and I enjoyed it. There was some fights much better on the undercard than the main event was, actually. So I feel fulfilled. That KOROBOV fight, that's the only one that I kind of wish we could have go to its real conclusion. And hopefully that KOROBOV is okay and he'll be able to come back and resume his career. But being an older fighter, you have to be careful with those injuries with your shoulders and stuff like that. Buddy McGirt was never the same after he had his shoulder problem. So I know how that can be. But yeah, it's been a great day of boxing. A lot of talk and conversation on it. And a lot of people out there that decided to hear us chop it up. So I want to say salute to Reggie. Thanks for coming on with me this evening. And shout out to the LDBC. And this is STORMYBMAN. We're going to sign off for tonight. You guys have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And we're going to say peace out. Good night.